This is solo only, a character that can't interact with other players. No parties, no market board, no NPC support, just solo, his trusty axe Bill, and the many minions we found along the way. With Mogglmog defeated, we've checked one trial off the list with 7 more to go. Well, 6 more to go. Turns out I lost the footage of the end of the stream for the first day we fought Mogglmog, and the bit that I lost was our attempts to take down Ifrit with Gunbreaker. I had thought it was just more Mogglmog attempts, but oopsie. Really, it was a stupidly easy fight with Gunbreaker shielding, so we got it done first try. Now that you're caught up, we can talk about the goals for today. Beating 3 of the MSQ trials, Leviathan, Rama, and Shiva. Starting with some main scenario quests, we're on to the first of those 3 fights, facing off against Leviathan. Starting with level sync, we get the chance to learn his main mechanics. Occasionally, Leviathan will sink beneath the waves and reappear at a different part of the arena before slamming down, tipping the platform, and sliding us towards him. After his first time doing this, he gets 2 body parts that can be attacked. His head and tail. His head will reflect magic damage, while his tail reflects physical range damage. For us though, the reflection doesn't matter as melees can hit either part. But it didn't take long for his damage to become unmanageable and end our level sync run. Dying at 91%, we step out and swap over to Silence Echo. Making it past our original death point, it's good to note for the future that there are 2 ways to avoid him sliding us around the platform. The first is turning on arm's length, and the second, much cooler method is to use a dash on him as soon as he's targetable. Either of these will give us back full control of Solo without having to wait out the long animation. Next is the scariest part of the Leviathan fight, and as per usual, it's the ads that he spawns. I'm starting to realize that's a constant for this whole video. Anyway, Leviathan can summon 2 types of ads. The first are the Wavespine Sahagin. They come in groups of 2, and if you don't kill them quickly enough, they'll drop a large AoE on the ground that deals damage over time if we even barely touch it. Normally, it wouldn't be that big a deal. The problem is when they put the AoE on top of Leviathan, or put a bunch of them down so we get slid into it. The next ad doesn't show up till later, so we're on to the next mechanic. At around 70%, 4 Gyre Streams will spawn around the platform, draining energy from the Elemental Converter, a shield we have to use to reduce the damage from Leviathan's biggest attack. It takes us a minute and a half to kill them, and immediately after, we turn on the Elemental Converter to just barely survive Tidal Wave. Look at that! Easy peasy! No problem at all. With little health remaining, we're on to phase 2. It was a struggle with attacks from all sides, but we were slowly regaining our HP. And then the second type of ad appeared, the Wave Tooth Sahagin. At 75% health, the Wave Tooth will cast a Hysteria, taking away all control of my character and forcing me to run around the arena. This can be dodged though. If you stun the Wave Tooth and push him past the health where he would cast it at, he never actually does it. Other than that, he's just a magic caster that drops another AoE with Dreadstorm. And after the Wave Tooth, he spawns a 3rd wave of ads. 2 that I can't fight alone. The like and subscribe buttons. And that's everything. Using all of our mitigations off cooldown, we were rushing through Leviathan. I was even starting to believe we would kill him first try, until something happened that I didn't expect. Something in this pile used an ability called Stun Shot and paralyzed me for 30 seconds. The paralyze would occasionally freeze me in place for a full second, preventing any heals or movement. This, combined with the dropsy from the wave spines, was a massive problem. The paralysis prevented me from killing the wave spines, and so the arena was slowly filling up with AoEs that caused our death. 22% on the first try though, Leviathan was looking to be an easy fight. I think if I didn't get dropsied there, it would have been okay. With the paralysis being the only reason I died, it's time for some crafting. We kill a Snow Wolf for Wolfsfang and grab some Pearl Ginger to make Spine Drops, a potion that we can use to cleanse paralysis. Crafting done, we stop by the Moonfire Fair to become a Power Ranger, fail miserably at the jump puzzle, and end day 1. And I mean, it wouldn't be the end of day 1 without some delicious snacks. Thank you Sakurako and Tokyo Treat for sponsoring this video. This month, Tokyo Treat and Sakurako are celebrating the holidays with the Holidays in Hokkaido Sakurako box and the Snacktacular Christmas box from Tokyo Treat. Every box they've sent over the past month has been incredible, and it's always exciting when a new one arrives. The government has provided me with my yearly Christmas box. And we're starting things off with Sakurako. A nice little bit of artwork for me to add to my collection. Very nice. This time around we're doing Holidays in Hokkaido. Get to see how all the confections are made. Amazing. We've got the season's greetings for the Hokkaido holiday box. We have the tea it always comes with. A delicious time, I'm sure. I want to know what that big production line was. So this is for Kitami's Milk and Chocolate Cookie Cook. I mean, this looks amazing. I have to try this one. Cookie time, baby. Looks like a little sandwich. Oh my god, the cream for that is delicious. What do you think, baby boy? What do you think? Is it no? You don't get to taste it. No, don't. It's my cookie. You can't have it. And the special item this time is another beautiful artisan dish. And once again, I'm amazed it's gotten here in one piece. It's a snacktacular Christmas, baby. You get a little filled candy cane, okay. But we all know what the important thing is. Kit Kat. Strawberry and chocolate cake. Oh wow, okay. Oh god. I would say that's maybe closer to what I would get if I made chocolate-covered strawberries, which is amazing to be able to condense into a candy bar. Christmas pizza. Hello, Christmas pizza. That is a pizza-flavored cheese puff. That's... I don't really know how it's a Christmas pizza, but it's definitely pizza, and that's very good. If you liked the look of them, you could get these boxes if you order before December 15th and use code WRATH for $5 off your first box with my links below. If not for you, it is the season of giving after all, so why not get it as a gift for someone you care about? Day 2, we're straight back to attempts. The first run of the day, I forgot to turn on the elemental converter and took a 30,000 damage hit, but then we ran into some other problems. Namely, the elemental converter not having enough energy to save us from the tidal wave. Even with the shield turned on, it only had 15% energy when we started it, so we still got hit for 30,000. There's also the chance that I wasn't hitting it fast enough, but even on the runs when the shield went up properly, I didn't have the health to survive. And for some reason, the damage tidal wave dealt when we had the shield on seemed to range between 4,000 and 9,000. 92! Oh, that sucked. With that, we're out of food, so it's time for a quick restock. Volcanic rock salt, turning Solo into a fashion icon. Now we're perfect. Smoked bacon, night milk from large buffaloes, and mineral water for yet more bacon bread. Bread in hand, we're back to attempts. First attempt back, we're at full health and tidal wave hits for about 4,200 damage. But we couldn't keep up with Leviathan's damage, fell behind on healing, and lost at around 48%. One more time. Easy clear, dude. Easiest game of my life. Oh my god. That's what I'm talking about, dude. That's the one. That's the one, man. Whew. And after a 20-minute long endurance test, Leviathan is defeated. 1 down, 2 to go. That was incredibly easy. Barely any grinding, no problems with damage. I was starting to be filled with confidence that the rest of ARR would be easy, but...
Remind yourself that overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer.
Next up on the list is Rama, notoriously one of the hardest trials in A Realm Reborn and the bane of mentor roulettes. Not that I would know what a mentor roulette is like. But before that, we need to actually get to Rama. Some quick quests later, we're at the big sentient beard. And that's real. That's a real thing. Rama is the beard, not the man. Look it up. As per usual, we start with level sync. The fight with Leviathan had made it to around 80% before our level synced to death. Rama, on the other hand, put us in our place almost immediately. Constant, undodgeable AoEs, Shock Strike hitting for 2,300 damage through my mitigations, and Chaotic Strike freezing us in place for 5 seconds. There was absolutely nothing I could do. The furthest we got with level sync was 94%. So now it was time to try Silence Echo. From here, we can start properly walking through Rama's mechanics. Thunderstorm is a targeted AoE, a small amount of unavoidable damage, but very important for later in the fight. Shock Strike is his tank buster, hitting for upwards of 3,000 damage. At the start of the fight, he casts this once every 20 seconds. And then, Chaotic Strike terrors certain party members, freezing them in place until they get hit by that Thunderstorm AoE we talked about earlier. For a party, this isn't a problem, but since I'm the only one healing me, this is just 5 seconds of free damage from the boss. Occasionally, around the arena, there are small little lightning orbs that appear on the ground. What could they be for? Some integral, super important mechanic that lets us survive this fight? Nothing. They do nothing. In the extreme version, you use them to get a buff that reduces the damage Shock Strike deals, but in hard mode, they do pretty much nothing. We spent most of the day trying to get past the beginning of the fight with Rama to no avail. Even on Silence Echo, we just couldn't get anywhere. The best we had done was 89%. It was nowhere close. Many deaths later, it was becoming obvious that we had to find something we could change to get past this. So for now, I took a break and stopped by a another of our tasks, Garuda Heart. Even if we got past Rama, we needed to beat Garuda and Titan sometime in the next 20 quests or so, or we wouldn't be able to continue. There's a lot to the Garuda fight, and it's not something we're ready for right now. So as to not overload you with information, let's save this for another time. Garuda attempts finished, and yet more losses. This was the end of day 2, and the start of a week-long journey to find a way to defeat Rama. Between streams, I searched everywhere. Every resource I had, everything we could access, every piece of equipment available, and tested them on my main. I wanted to be 100% sure that what I was thinking was right, and after many sleepless nights, day 3 begins. After a week of testing, I had gone through everything to get past Rama, and in the end, there was nothing. Certain gear lets us survive for longer and start doing the fight proper. The problem was that halfway through the fight, there was another wall waiting for us. Rama's ad phase. 3 Grey Arbiters appear around the room, and if you can't kill them all in time, Rama will hit for 30,000 damage. There was no class that had the mix of survivability and damage, and no gear upgrades that could get us the damage we needed. This fight was impossible. Though thankfully, to beat this, we only kind of have to take an exception. Since the very beginning when I added the rule to use Level Sync or Silence Echo, I added it with a caveat, for as long as it was possible. And right now, it wasn't. So for the first time since the rule was added, we're forced to go into the fight without them. Entering an instance with only unrestricted party turned on will give you a buff called the Epic Echo, an incredibly powerful buff that changes depending on your level and the expansion of content you're doing. For us, as a level 60 in a Realm Reborn content, the buff started off at a plus 60% to our health, healing, and damage. But if you thought that would make the fight easy, well, I'll just show you the first attempt. Is the striking tree even possible? That's what we're going through right now. Okay, good luck. This bit is a really rough one. There's nothing we could do about the time lost to that. We just have to try and do as much damage as we can otherwise. Put Aurora out so I've got some extra heals from that. He should hopefully die to dot from that range. I'm just gonna give him another ranged hit just in case. I have to be focused on DPS here is the main problem. So I can't do too much for healing. I don't appreciate the double lightning strike stack, but that's fine. Yeah, okay, Grey Arbiter died over there, so we're fine. We're looking good so far. I need to get some 1-2s in because I'm about to get obliterated here just by the normal damage. Okay. Terra's gonna be a small hit, thankfully. Nothing too crazy. No. Okay, died to Shock Strike. I could have done... Can you use the orb buff to reduce lightning damage in hard? No, it does not reduce damage in hard mode. It only reduces damage in EX, it seems. I will prove that to you here. He did 2,800 damage with the Shock Strike there. He did 3,000 damage with Shock. He did more with Surge Protection on. With the continued attacks from Rama and stuns from Chaotic Strike, even with a 60% buff, we weren't even getting close. There was still an entire Grey Arbiter left to kill, but I still had one more trick up my sleeve. The Epic Echo's 60% buff was a different buff than the Echo, which we could get from dying after lasting in a fight for at least 3 minutes. Just like with Mogglmog, we would have to farm the Echo buff to have a chance to clear, turning this fight into a marathon. For every 10% Echo, we'd get the chance to try and beat ad phase, so we'd make it through as soon as we had just enough of a boost to do it. We're set. This Terror's fine. I think I have 3 Terrors between me and Enrage. There's the Terror. I need to kill it immediately after this Terror, or I'm enraged again. Did that kill it? Or did I run out of time? That was a kill. Okay. So that gets us through ad phase, very least. It's bare minimum. It was really stupidly tight, but we've got it with 90%. There's no feasible way for me to get those stats. if it takes 90% to get us there, there's just nothing. With the ads killed, there was one more mechanic for Rima, Rolling Thunder. Rolling Thunder gives causality, a debuff that makes any attack I use deal 600 damage to me. To get rid of it, we have to collect 3 of the orbs scattered around the ground, so okay, I guess they do something. From here on, we don't need the extra 30% from the echo, so we remove the buff by right-clicking it and finish off the fight ourselves. Alright. It's not the happiest I've been clearing a boss, but we've done it. We've got a boss cleared, and we can move on. Finally. And so it was done. With a heavy heart, we move forward. 2 trials complete, 1 more to go. The final trial we have to face is Shiva, but before that, we get to take a little bit of a break. For the first time in 60 hours, we had a dungeon to do, Snowcloak. With non-stop 8-man trials surrounding me, it was a breath of fresh air to run a dungeon meant for 4 players. Slowly but surely, we fell the guardians of this crystalline cavern. Frozen in a time of its own, buried beneath a veil of white. A world of its own giving way for beautiful creatures to thrive, like the Tumbler. Though I went into this expecting a relaxing experience, Wandel is happy to show me just how wrong I was. Icy Guillotine, an instant tank buster, deals upwards of 2000 damage, and they use it shortly after every mechanic. Snowdrift is a light AoE, and frost bombs get bonked, but the sheer volume of tank busters throughout this fight had us struggling to survive. And that, wow, dude, calm down with the guillotines. Really. That was between every auto. Super Bolide helps us survive a bomb we left alive, and at 75%, the fight starts to get a bit easy. Cold Wave is an easily dodgeable casted AoE which gives us a few moments of pause to heal, and the extra cast is just enough for us to start gaining HP throughout the fight rather than losing it. At around 45%, they cast Tundra, shrinking the size of the arena and making it a bit harder to dodge Cold Wave, but other than that, once we get into the rhythm of it, Wandel goes down on our first attempt. Feeling a bit nostalgic, I let the ice sprites kill me so we could remember the good old days back in Stone Vigil, and we're on to the second boss. The Yeti doesn't have any tank busters, but they do fling me up in the air, so 10 out of 10 boss fight, dodge the AoE's dead boss, moving on. Right before the final boss is 3 fake dragons that shred through my HP in seconds, so it took us a few deaths, but eventually we're at the final boss, Fenrir. Fenrir's tank buster and auto attacks do a lot of damage, but Lunar Cry's cast time is so long that we can heal back all of it, so long as we stand behind the right icicle at the end. Aside from me getting distracted by chat and getting hit by Heavensward Roar at least 3 times, Fenrir goes down without much trouble, and our little dungeon adventure is ended. Some short MSQ later, we've made it back to the same spot for my final goal, Shiva, and hopefully the easiest fight we face today. 1300 for auto attack so far. 1300 exactly. 1392. 1420. Wow. Oh my god, every hit is a tank buster. With Nebula on, she was doing a lot less. Okay, yeah, wow. Oh my god. You haven't hit the HP threshold to get mechanics. Yeah, she really just told us to leave, dude. Level sync Shiva, I think that's a pretty blatant no. Kicked out of level sync within seconds, we're on to Silence Echo attempts, which can barely scrape by and earn the right to see her mechanics. Wow. I don't appreciate that your autos can crit, Shiva. Can we calm down a little bit, baby? Her attacks are split into groups depending on the weapon she has active. Starting with her staff, her attacks are mainly focused on AoEs. Outside of her constant, massively damaging auto attacks, Absolute Zero is an instant cast raid-wide, Hailstorm is a targeted small AoE, and with her dialogue, she fills the arena with massive circles to dodge. With that final AoE, the staff breaks and Shiva casts Dreams of Ice, giving her a stacking damage increase. Oh no. before moving on to the next weapon, Sword and Shield. As soon as the animation finishes, she uses Ice Brand, a cleave that deals around 4,500 damage, just a little bit less than half my health. The only other mechanic is Glacier Bash, hitting a cone in front of her and stunning anything hit while dealing around 2,600 damage. Thankfully, it's dodgeable so long as I move early enough. At 65%, she heads to the center of the arena and her enrage begins. 4 ads spawn around the arena and Shiva goes back to her weapon cycle, getting another damage up from Dreams of Ice. Auto attacks coming in from 5 sources. To make things even worse, Shiva goes back into Sword and Shield and throws out an Ice Brand. And then, after only managing to kill 1 of the 4 ads, she starts the final cast. The ads don't go away. This enrage is going to be terrible. 1,400. Oh man. Her enrage cast damage was much more survivable than Rama's, but the ads would stick around and continue to hit me while I'm frozen. This was starting to look like another epic echo requirement, but I hadn't given up hope just yet. I had some ideas and plans that we could test out to try and get through, but that would have to wait for another day, as this was the end of day 3. Day 4 begins and it was time for some testing. Shiva goes down today, no matter how long it took, and I refuse to let it be another epic echo fight. The first idea was to get a weapon upgrade from Palace, but after looking at my Aetherpool gear and trying to run the higher level floors, we decided to shelve that plan for now. So after a quick attempt to try and get any info we could, it was time to step away from solo and hop over to my main to learn Shiva's mechanics. Normally, I wouldn't do this. I like to do all of my testing in the moment with what I have on hand, but I was going to need a gear upgrade to take down Shiva, and the only ones that were available to me were both a horribly difficult choice to make and could ruin the account in their own ways. One was within the rule set, but it's something I've been keeping in my back pocket for a reason. I could only ever do this twice, and chances are I would need it to get through the much more difficult trials coming in Stormblood. The other was an exception, and the worst case scenario. The first is Silver Chocobo Feathers. Silver Chocobo Feathers are given to an account when they make a character on a preferred world, and for using the Recruit a Friend program when the account is made. Both of these give a grand total of 20 feathers. We can use these feathers to trade for 3 pieces of Shire equipment, but it wasn't just Shire gear. We could get things going all the way up to Shadowbringer's level 80 equipment. A weapon, chest armor, and leg armor cost 10 silver chocobo feathers. If I ever had to do this again, I would have to grind up to level 80 or even level 90 once Dawntrail comes out to get the most use out of the feathers. After learning the later mechanics of the fight on my main, it was time to go. There was nothing left. I had to take the leap. This hurts. This really hurts. I'm really worried doing this that this is gonna be a mistake, but if it gets us through Shiva, that's enough for me. The Shire equipment was a huge upgrade, getting us 300 extra defense and almost 2,000 health. I'll also add that in the spirit of the challenge, this was an emergency button. I would still have to make my own gear once we get to Heavensward, and this would only be used if we were forced to. Just grind to level 80 and buy that weapon instead. The problem is how long that takes. Palace of the Dead is the most experience we can get. So grinding from level 60 to 70 takes 77 runs of Palace of the Dead, floors 51 to 60, or just about 40 hours. And then there's the next step up where we have to get from 70 to 80, which is going to be more than double that. Now, all that's left is Shiva. At this point, I knew the fight. I had the best gear I could get. And now, I just had to prove that we could do it. absolutely insane. First run. Okay, first run with the armor. Insane, dude. Holy. Shiva is out. Shiva is done, and Shiva did not need an exception. Oh my god. Oh, that's the success I needed, man. Shiva defeated, we still, somehow, have some of the hardest fights yet in front of us. And now we're forced into them. Hitting the end of our MSQ, we had to find a way past Garuda and Titan. But that is a story for another day. Oh, and don't forget to get your snack box using code WRATH and the links below. See you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.